Okay, hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm Brendan Smith with Batdorf & Bronson Coffee Roasters. Sorry for the bright lights today. We are actually in our training lab in St. Petersburg, Florida. So happy that you could join us today. And today we're going to do a real quick video. I understand there is a space shuttle launching in about a half an hour, so we're going to get you out in time. We appreciate you coming to join us today. Today we're going to be talking about our newest coffee. This is a naturally processed Ethiopia Sidamo Guji. Tasting notes are herbal, rosemary, and blueberry. If you didn't see it this morning, Josh did a great deep dive into this coffee. Hi, Pam. Thanks for watching. And so if you haven't seen it when you're done here, definitely check that out. He does a wonderful job kind of going into the region and answering some of the biggest questions, of course. Most of the times when we read a bag of coffee, we start with broader areas and we move to smaller. Sometimes that can be country and region and even processing center. Sometimes that can be other things, but in this case, Ethiopia is a country, as we all know. Sidamo is a region, and then Guji is an area that was thought to be a zone within the region of Sidamo, in the southern part of Sidamo. And according to my quick check on Wikipedia today, it's now considered its own region. Hey, Ren. Thanks for joining us today. So, this is our Ethiopia Guji. If you've been in the coffee world for a little bit, Ethiopia Gujis are often very exciting coffees. This region is known for producing fruity, delicious coffees that cool off really sweet, that are really tasty, and this is no exception. If you want to pick up a bag, you can do so on our website, and let's see if we can, let's see. Yeah, so we've got a coupon on screen. It's going to be this way. Use that coupon right now if you want to buy some coffee. We would love to offer you 10% off because we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Also, if you have questions, if you have questions about this coffee or anything else that we've got going on, hit us up. Ask the questions. We're here to help make your home brewing experience as solid as it could possibly be, and hopefully give you some tools to increase the quality of your coffee at home and increase your knowledge of coffee so that when you go back out into the world, back out into the coffee shops, back out into the restaurants, you feel armed with information to make educated choices, to know what you like, what you don't like, and we're just here to support that. Thanks. Joshua just threw the link down there to grab the Guji. So you can follow that link if you would like to grab a bag for yourself. So yeah. Also, if you get a second, please share the stream. Let other folks know that we're doing this. We give away all kinds of prizes all the time. So I'm going to give away a bag of this coffee to somebody that shares the stream with their friends. Please share it publicly so I can see who you are, and we'll give you that coffee. All right? Cool. Okay, so Joshua brewed a Chemex, and if you don't know what a Chemex, let me grab a Chemex for you. Hang on one second. If you've never seen Chemex, awesome brew method. You can pick one up on batdorfcoffee.com. Amazing way to brew your coffee. It's simple, it's elegant, it's been around since the 1940s. And it makes an amazing cup of coffee, a clean cup of coffee. If you think about a French press as producing a coffee with a lot of mouthfeel and a lot of body, which is prized in some cases by some people with some coffees, this is sort of the opposite end of that spectrum. This is going to clean your coffee up really, really nicely and give you a really smooth cup of coffee that kind of filters out any siltiness or any extra oils and that kind of thing. Both are good. It's personal preference. This is one of my favorites, though, and definitely makes a nice cup of coffee, and it's very inexpensive way to make a great cup of coffee. I once saw a review of high-end $300, $200 to $300 or above coffee makers, and the final review on the best coffee maker was, "This is the best electric coffee maker, and the only brew method that our staff liked better was a Chemex." And I thought to myself, a Chemex is like, what, a fifth of the price or less? Don't quote me on my math. It's so inexpensive. And it still beat out the best electric coffee maker. Nothing wrong with electric coffee makers. I use one myself. But if you want a really great cup of coffee, you can't go wrong with the Chemex. So Joshua made it in a Chemex. Watch that video later to check out his technique. He has some really, really good tips in there. We're also working on some other content for you guys, some brewing guides and some other fun things that might help you make better coffee at home. So if there's something you're wanting that you don't have access to now, let us know. We'll be happy to help you with that. Today I thought I'd bring it over to the espresso machine. This is our beautiful La Marzocco Linea Classic. We love this machine. And normally in this machine I am brewing, let's see, this one, Dancing Goats blend. This is our signature blend. Tasting notes are cherry, chocolate, and spice. It's a wonderful coffee. Brews up great as brewed coffee. It's also an amazing espresso. Very forgiving as espresso. Even when you don't do it perfectly, it's still pretty good. And when you get it just right, it's just transcendent. It's so good. Love this coffee. And normally that is what I brew as espresso. But there's been a trend for the last, 5 or 10 years to brew naturally processed African coffees as espresso. Sometimes you'll see them on coffee bars as SEO, which stands for single, or SOE. SEO is search engine optimization. SOE is single origin espresso. Know the difference. So you'll see that, and I got to tell you, I've been in coffee for a while, and when I first started tasting single origin espressos, a lot of times they were these natural African coffees, and they can be intense. The reason that we tend to go with coffees like Dancing Goats for espresso is because they're very well balanced, and as they intensify, they tend to remain in balance. And I got in a conversation with somebody asking me to define espresso earlier today. And the thing about espresso is coffee. It's a method of coffee preparation. It's not a different thing, right? Sometimes you see coffee labeled as an espresso bean, and then you see something just labeled coffee. And it can be confusing because it feels like they're different products, or you have to use something that says the word espresso on it in your espresso machine. But that's not the case. When you see the word espresso on a bag of coffee, all that means is that the roaster is suggesting that that coffee would taste good prepared as espresso. But you can make any coffee bean into espresso. The reason, though, that you would tend to go for one over another is because espresso is a very concentrated beverage. It's produced under high pressure, under a short period of time. You've got near boiling water, under high pressure, typically around 9 bars, which is 9 times atmospheric pressure at sea level. And in a short time, about 30 seconds to pull a shot of espresso, right? So that finely ground coffee creates back pressure against that boiler that's heating that water and forcing it through that bed, and that really intense situation, it's like creating a diamond, right? It's that pressure that turns, here we go, you ready? It's the pressure that turns the coal into the diamond, the coffee into the espresso. Guys, it's a liquid gem, in my opinion. Espresso prepared right is one of the tastiest things you'll ever have. If you've had espresso and you didn't prefer it, that's okay, but I would venture to say most of the time, that's probably because you had a shot that just wasn't quite right. Because when it's not right, when it's out of balance, it can be overwhelming in one way or another. Okay? So, with African coffees, especially naturally processed, so this is sun-dried, they tend to get a little fruitier. A lot of African coffees have a very fruit-forward kind of note to them. That's just part of the terroir, it's part of the region. But then the natural processing also helps to intensify that, right? Processing is just removing the fruit from the seed, right? Coffee is a seed inside of a fruit we call a coffee cherry. And when we remove that fruit with water, it kind of washes everything away. When we make it more like sun tea, laid out in raised beds, we allow the sun to kind of do that work. And that's kind of the original way that coffee was processed. A lot of African countries would still practice this, and in some cases that has something to do with the availability of water. How much water is available determines how you kind of choose to process. The benefit to us of processing with that sun, dry, natural process, those are all synonyms, is that a little bit of that mucilage from the fruit is kind of left behind. And you get a better sense of what that coffee cherry really imparted to the seed. That can lead to some kind of tangy flavors, a fruity sweetness. Very often you get notes of blueberry or strawberry. This one we have herbal, rosemary, and blueberry. Josh mentioned a little bit of lemon peel in his broadcast that he was catching. I think there might be a little tangerine in this. It's very fruity, but not that fruity, distinct blueberry fruitiness of like our Ethiopia Harar that we typically have, where it's like blueberry right on the front of the nose. For me, this is complex, interesting, and exciting. And it's also probably the best smelling coffee you'll ever grind. Grind this up and take, or just open the bag, whole bean. It smells amazing. Grind it, smell that, it smells even better. It's an awesome coffee. So I thought it would be fun to brew it as a single origin espresso and see how it came out. In the past, when I've had single origin espressos, sometimes the acidity, which acidity in coffee really just means flavor, right? Like acidity is a thing, but if there's no acid in your coffee, it wouldn't taste like much. It would taste very flat. So even when we're looking to lower acidity in coffee, we still want acidity. We just want it balanced. So in these natural Africans, sometimes that acidity can overwhelm. I've had some shots that were like battery acid. I gotta be honest, guys. And over the years, though, I think we've gotten better at understanding this kind of style of espresso, how to pull it right, what the differences are. So I took a crack figuring I would need a long time to kind of dial it in, but I gotta say, it happened right away. So let's pull a shot and I'll talk you through what I'm doing. If you have questions, hit us up. Don't forget 10% off with the coupon. And you guys can see with the coupon. I'm gonna leave the coupon in place so you can use it. Join our Facebook group, Batdorf Boosters. There is a one-time use, I'm gonna just tell you, there's a one-time use 15% off coupon in the group. It's only good through the end of the month. So jump on there now. It's the Batdorf Boosters VIP Coffee Club. Maybe one of our producers can put a link to that in the comments. We would love to have you. We do a lot of fun stuff in there, post pictures of our morning coffee, Q&A with our trainers and our staff. And this Saturday, we're gonna all brew some coffee together. So if you have our Bolivia coffee, if you've ordered it already, folks who've ordered the coffee are gonna brew it. We're gonna make it in a Chemex. Some of our staff is gonna be on that call, our trainers, our outreach folks, and we're gonna be brewing the organic Bolivia, very sweet coffee, pecan, nougat, delicious, in a Chemex together in a video call so that you're not just seeing me, I'm seeing you. You can ask questions out loud in real time. And then we're giving away a 6-month supply of coffee. I didn't misspeak. A 6-month supply of coffee to somebody who orders the Bolivia and joins us on Saturday to brew along. So that is really exciting. So we'd love to have you join us for that. The period to guarantee that it'll get there in time is over at this point, but if you live in the Atlanta area or near Olympia, you may be able to get it in time if you order today. I won't guarantee it, but go on there and order that Bolivia now if you're interested in joining and maybe winning, or just join us. We're going to use the Facebook Rooms video chat that's right inside the group. So as soon as you go to the group, you'll be able to just click right in. No need to download a separate application, and we'll talk, okay? Cool, so that's Saturday. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon if you're on the East Coast. All right, so I've already loaded up my grinder here, and I'm gonna switch cameras and see if we can't get you guys. Nope. Okay, so I had this thing going, but apparently it doesn't like it today. That's okay. You can see me, right? Okay, so let's make some espresso. I don't normally reach under my espresso machine and find a keyboard. I don't recommend that typically. In fact, I'm just gonna move that because I don't think we need it right now. Let's see, is this a better view? You guys like that? Maybe, how about that? Yeah? Kind of a picture-in-picture situation. All right, let me know what looks better for you. So I'm gonna start off by weighing out my coffee. We weigh everything, especially when we're dialing a coffee in. Dialing it in just means we're setting the parameters so that the coffee extracts ideally, as good as possible, okay? It's very important. We offer training for our wholesale accounts to help them learn how to do these processes. So if you ever see that an account is serving Batdorf and Bronson coffee, you can rest assured that they've received training and support to brew that coffee correctly. It's a big deal, right? All right, I'm gonna grind some coffee. I'm gonna double check the weight. All right, I'm going for 18 grams. We hit 18.3, but I'll probably lose just a little bit cleaning this up. I'm gonna use my distribution tool. That kind of just levels the surface. Then I'm gonna use my little tamper. Give it a squish. I'm gonna flush out the group head on the portafilter. What that's doing is that's pushing hot water through it for temperature stability. I want to have that as hot as possible. And then without too much delay, we're going to start the shot. Let's see how it pulls. All right, so this one's pulling too slow. And that happens. I made a shot just a few minutes ago that pulled beautifully. This one's not pulling as great. Hey guys, down there, is that what you mean? How's it going? Okay. Or do you prefer the up high? Let me know. All right, so this shot is pulling way too slow, so I'm gonna kill it. Espresso is temperamental. People sometimes talk about home espresso, and I love home espresso. I don't have an espresso machine in my house right now. I have in the past, but one of the things I always tell people is get into home espresso because you like the hobby of espresso, not because you enjoy the taste of espresso. What I mean by that is espresso is fantastic, but it's work. It takes a little bit of patience to spend time dialing it in. And for my money, the couple of bucks that I pay to a barista to get in at 5 a.m. and do this process for me is well worth it. Now you got to make sure you go to a coffee shop where they're putting in that effort, right? Not all shops are created equal. Not hating on anybody, but not everybody puts the same effort in. But when you go to a good one, they're going to take the time to make sure that that coffee is just right. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to adjust my grind just a little bit. Actually going to waste one shot of coffee because I want to give it a chance to grind through what was sort of already in there. All right. Let's check the weight. It's a little high. I'll pull just a little bit out. Okay, that's perfect. All right, so we're knocking it to distribute all the grounds evenly. We're tamping it. What tamping is doing is it's creating back pressure by kind of pushing all that ground coffee together. And then that ground coffee is like a wall. As the boiler pushes that hot water through, the coffee resists, and the two in this grudge match create extraction that creates beautiful espresso. I love these espresso analogies. Feel like I'm on fire today. Hit me up if you like the analogies. I've got more. All right, so we went a little coarser. Let's see how that impacted that. And while that's working, I'm going to pull one over here. I'm going to adjust it just a little bit more for the sake of time. Okay, that's better. It's still a little bit slow. I'm doing the express version of this, and I hope this gives you some appreciation for what it's like to kind of make a good shot of espresso. If you love your lattes in the morning, your cappuccinos, your straight espresso, please understand that it takes some work and you can't just set it and forget it, right? All right, I'm going to kill this. It's pretty, but it's probably not tasty. At least not as tasty as it should be. All right, let's try another one. And that first shot that I pulled before the video came out great. It pulled awesome. So that happens sometimes. So whenever I go to a espresso bar, one of the things I look for is, are the baristas paying attention to the espresso as it pulls? If they're watching it, that means that they care about what it looks like. And that matters to me, because a really poorly pulled shot of espresso is not a pleasure to drink. It can, it's high risk, high reward. Okay, so we're a little better. We're getting to the point where we may have something good. To be honest, I did not want to dial in on camera. I wanted to be dialed in. But this happens. This is real talk, real life cafe situation. But I'm going to see how little of a mess I can make, how quickly I can get this for you. pulled a little too much off, so I'm going to put a little back. And that is perfect. All right. Hey, Tessa. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Love seeing our friends and our fans on here. Don't forget to brew with us this Saturday. We're brewing the Organic Bolivia together on Chemex. 12 o'clock if you're in my time zone, which is the Eastern. 9 a.m. if you're out west. We would love to have you join us. All right. Come on. Let's see what we can do. All right, I got some hope. It's a little slow. It's still just a little slow, but I think we're about there. One of the things that happens is sometimes you dial a coffee in and the first shot you pull is off, but that doesn't mean that you need to make a big change. You really need to pull about 3 shots before you know what you're dealing with. We're really close. Oops. Hang with me, we're gonna get there. So just in case you can't hang with me, I will tell you that I was so pleased with how this turned out when I pulled it as espresso. It had a certain tanginess to it, but it was not challenging. For me to test a really good espresso is if I don't want to chase it, I don't want to, all right, I need to dial my time back a little. I'm pulling a little too much. Let me just do one more. I don't want to chase it with water. I don't need to rinse my mouth out. I like the lingering aftertaste. For me, that's an excellent sign that this was a really good shot. And that's how I felt about this one. A really well-produced single origin espresso is going to taste sweet in all the right ways. Okay. I think this is the one, guys. Say a prayer for me out there. I think this is the one we're going to get it. So really, this is your sneak peek. If you want to know what happens in a good cafe like the Dancing Goats coffee bars, every morning before you come in, it's spending the time to make sure that espresso is really on point. And you got to dial it in for the coffee. Every coffee is going to be a little different. For example, with this one, I find that I want to pull this shot of espresso a little longer than I pull a shot of Dancing Goats. And that's because it's a lighter espresso. It presents better in a slightly larger water to coffee ratio, whereas the Dancing Goats presents sweetest in a very tight ratio. This is much better. You can see it's kind of, I don't know if you can see, but if you could see, it's dripping in a really nice way. I'm going to try this one. It's taking maybe a few seconds longer than I ideally like, but we're very close. So this is really the process of dialing an espresso, and that's why when I say, if you're paying a few bucks to someone to get this drink and they've got it just nailed for you, it's well worth it. They're spending the time. They're, throwing away what's not good to make sure that what they give you is quality. And of course, the more you're dialed into the coffee, the easier it is to do this. This is a brand new coffee for me and for this machine and for this grinder. So the process of dialing it in can be a little bit longer, can be a little bit more experimentation. We've been pulling Dancing Goats' espresso for many, many years, and we really know that coffee. But even knowing the coffee, atmospheric conditions, humidity, the age of the coffee, how fresh is it or how old is it, even within a window of acceptably fresh coffee, as that coffee ages and loses moisture, you're going to adjust your grind, you're going to adjust how you're kind of pulling it. You're going to do things like cleaning the machine, which we do regularly. All those things can make a difference. So I'm going to try this one, see where we're at. It's good. It's almost there. It's very good, though. I'm going to pull one more, and I think I can nail it. We clean between every shot. One thing that helps with the portafilter is if it's thoroughly dried. All right. Once I have my grind where I really like it, that's the thing I'm going to change the most. It's incredible. I can't believe I'm changing it this much. Once I have my grind where I like it, the next thing I'm going to change is maybe start messing with my recipe a little bit. So maybe I want a little more, a little less coffee in my bed. But by far, the thing that you should change before you change anything else is the grind. A tamp pressure can make a difference. If you're inconsistent in the way you tamp, which I'm sure that I am, that can make a difference. All right. But whether you do it for espresso or brewed coffee, the Ethiopia Guji, show you again, is an amazing coffee. It's well worth having. This is one of those, like, you don't want to miss it coffees. So I'm getting a steady stream on one side. It's a little drippy on the right side. That means I probably distributed and tamped a little uneven, but it is pulling a little faster, which is good. Okay, that was about the same. That was maybe a hair faster. What I'm going for on this one is a 2-to-1 coffee to espresso ratio. That's pretty good. Okay, I think I'm going to call it there. It's close. The mystique of the perfect shot is always the shot that I pull off camera. Don't forget to empty out, clean your portafilters, kids. That's how your mom taught you to do it, right? If you don't know how to do it, we offer training. You can sign up for a class, or if you're a wholesale partner and you carry our coffee, we've got some free training that we can do for you to kind of help you get you and your staff all trained up and ready to go. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, with Joshua and Ben's program. And then we'll be back again on Friday, and then on Saturday, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, I will be brewing with you in the Batdorf Boosters VIP Coffee Club. So join us there. Brew with us. We're going to make the Bolivia in a Chemex, and we're going to give away a 6-month supply of coffee. So lots of fun stuff going on. Don't forget, Watch and Learn 10, or one-time use coupon that's available through the end of the month in the Batdorf Boosters group to save 15%. So go over there and grab it. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.